99.9 KTDY, the best variety of the 80s, 90s, and today. Justin, and what goes around comes around. My mother always said if you spit in the air, it falls in your face. So watch out what you say. Watch out that karma that you put out is going to come back. 8:15, the doc's in. Dr. Kevin with Bryant Wellness Institutes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good
How's
to have you
everyone
back.
today? Yeah, it's good to be back.
We're okay. How are you?
Good.
Everybody
Excellent.
seems. We were just saying off the air. Everybody seems to be dragging a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
I'm
kinda one
looking
of
at
those weeks.
Facebook. Is a little. You can tell Facebook is just a little down. Everybody's just dragging a little bit. I guess it's so the weather's rolling in.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Do you smell our new shades in here?
Yes, I
They
do.
took the
Yes.
blind. They took the blinds down and they put these white shades up and they.
Because the blinds get dusty, which is bad for your health. So now we have shades that.
Yeah, release some kind of phthalates or something.
yeah, they're releasing chemicals on us.
Yeah.
It'll all be
So
good
we're
tomorrow.
loopy. Anyway, good morning to you, Doc.
So today I wanted to go over the difference between good fats and bad fats because there's still so much confusion out there. I'll be talking to a patient about dieting or about losing weight, and I'll say something to them about eating more avocados and walnuts and adding things like that in their diet, and they'll say, oh, no, I'm trying to lose weight. That's too much fat. And there's still so much confusion. For most people, fat does not make us fat. Sugar makes us fat. Too large of portion sizes make us overweight. Healthy fats are really good for you. They keep you full longer, and they actually help you lose weight. Mm-hmm. And we kind of, in the 80s and 90s, got into this thing that fats are bad and that I need to cut all fats out of my diet. And actually, there's a lot of our body hormones that are made from fats. Fats are actually good for us if we choose the right ones and we choose them in the right amount. So I wanted to go through all of that today, but there's still so much confusion out there about the way your body processes fats and which ones are good and which ones are bad and what that actually means. So first I wanted to discuss bad fats, and this is the unhealthy ones. Bad fats increase bad cholesterol, lower good cholesterol, increase your risk factors for heart disease, but here's the big problem with bad fats, is they create systemic inflammation, which I say almost every week on the show. Systemic inflammation is the precursor to almost every chronic disease in the body. In other words, your whole body just stays with these inflammatory markers really high. Now, the two bad fats that you should pay attention to are saturated fats and trans fats. Saturated fats are your animal fats. So, when you buy a steak, the white fat that's around the outside of it, that's saturated fats.
Oh, but it's so good.
Yeah, it is. And you should limit saturated fats as much as possible, but I'm not as against saturated fats as I am trans fats. I mean, some saturated fats are okay for you as long as you keep it within reason.
Well, don't you have to have a certain amount of fat in your food to absorb the nutrients and the vitamins
You
from
do.
it?
Yeah, absolutely. So saturated fats are things that are like in hamburgers and meats and steaks and red meat. Those kind of things are your saturated fats. And like I said, I'm not near as against having those on occasion as I am trans fats. Trans fats are very, very bad for you. These are the ones that should be avoided at all cost 100% of the time. So
What's a trans fat?
Well, an example would be margarine. So if anybody listening is still using margarine instead of butter, you should stop immediately. Margarine is one of the most heart-clogging, systemic inflammatory things that we ever invented. It's man-made, and the way that it's made is they take really cheap oil like corn or cottonseed oil, and then they use hexane as a solvent to break it apart. And then they blow hydrogen gas through it with a catalyst, which is usually nickel. Yes, nickel. And then they add in all their artificial colors and flavors to make it palatable. Now, it was promoted as the health savior of the 80s.
In the 60s, too.
Yeah,
there was a,
Yes, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. But as it turns out, it was one of the most super inflammatory, most heart-clogging, disease-causing disasters that we ever created. And so I'm going to tell you, after the break, I'm going to go through the good fats. I'll tell you what to replace margarine with. But margarine is not something that you should be eating. Now, trans fats are also what you find in things like, donuts, the packaged cakes, the packaged pies, the boxed cupcakes, Twinkies, chips. Those things all that are processed have trans fats in them.
Why do they even call them fats? I mean,
Well-
shouldn't they be calling it something? A trans fat we need a new name
Yeah.
for trans fats
chemical.
and a new
Yeah.
name
Chemical.
for healthy fats.
Yeah, it's true. It's true because people have this thing that fats are bad. But trans fats are killers. Now, how do you know if your food has it in there? Well, the truth is they've made it real difficult to know on purpose. But if you see the words partially hydrogenated oil,
Run.
yeah, that's trans fats. Now, get this. They even lobbied to let the package say no trans fats on the front of it, and it can still have a 0.5 gram per serving of trans fats. So most packaged things have 2 servings in them, so you're actually still getting a whole gram of trans fats, even if it says trans fat free on the front.
Because if it's below that threshold, they don't have
They
to
don't
say
count
it's
it.
there.
Yeah,
Wow.
they can put
Unbelievable.
they can put trans fat free on the front, and it still has a 0.5 gram per serving. So basically, that's why a lot of these prepackaged foods are so bad for you, is because the fats in there are the real inflammatory, heart clogging ones. So what we're going to do when we get back from break, we're going to discuss which healthy fats you can eat. Now, the cool thing about healthy fats is they taste great. They will keep you full for hours. They'll promote health. They promote weight loss. They decrease inflammation. And so healthy fats do all of sort of the opposite of what the unhealthy fats do. But you know, the thing is, our body has a natural, inherent genetic craving for fats. That's something that we've had for thousands of years. But if you give it the healthy fats, you're not going to get all of these crazy cravings for sweets and, you know, all these things that people get. So eating healthy fats lowers your chance of overeating. It keeps you full longer, and it's super healthy for your body, and it decreases inflammation, which is the big thing here. So right after break, we're going to discuss the healthy fats.
Oxen, we're talking fat.
Yeah, yes, we are. So healthy fats are your monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. Now, these improve cholesterol, reduce heart risks, reduce diabetes risks, promote healthy nerve function, and are very anti-inflammatory. The exact opposite of what we talked about earlier with the bad fats. These are your olive oils, avocados, walnuts, almond, fish, coconut oil, these type of things. And they are very health-promoting foods. Now, people ask me often, like, which one of those should I use? Like, should I cook with olive oil? Should I cook with coconut oil? And that's very important because the thing about oil is if you heat it, it's going to turn into the trans fat if you overheat it. So if you're going to cook with an oil, you want to use coconut oil because it has a very high resistance to heat.
Okay.
So it's not going to break down and become an unhealthy fat. So what happens when you heat oil beyond a certain point is it breaks it down chemically and it turns into unhealthy trans fats. Wow. So that's why frying in the same oil more than once is bad. Like, I don't have a problem lightly frying something at home as long as I use a coconut oil and use it only once. And but when frying gets bad for you is when the restaurant uses the same oil for a week and never changes it, or even sometimes more than a week, and they cook day after day after day in that same oil and they don't change it. That's why something fried is bad for you. If I put a little bit of coconut oil in a pan at home and put a piece of chicken in it, that's not unhealthy. But especially if I use coconut oil, it actually might be more healthy. But if I get something that's fried that's out and the oil has been used day after day after day, that oil is almost solid trans fats. Even if it wasn't when they put it in there, after you heat it day after day, it will turn into trans fat, which is the real heart clogging one. So coconut oil is super healthy either way. I use it for lots of things. Now, as far as the butter goes, you always heard that, you know, butter is bad for you. We were talking during the break, people were told during the 60s, switch from butter to margarine. This is so much healthier for you. And that was a huge mistake. But as far as butter goes, I use a real grass-fed organic butter. And if you're going to cook with it, though, the problem with cooking with butter is it contains tiny amounts of sugars and proteins that will turn brown in the pan if you overheat the butter. And that's not healthy for you either. That turns into unhealthy chemicals as well. So if you I've been researching this, and if you're going to cook with a butter, there's something really healthy called ghee, Ghee, and I've never used it before, but I'm going to get some this week and try
used it.
You have? It's good?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Very good.
kind of like
Yeah.
butter, except it's good at it has a real high temperature resistance. So I'm going to try it.
What's it? Spell it.
Ghee.
Ghee is butter minus the milk solids. So it's also called clarified butter. I'm going to get it and try it this week because it seems to be super healthy from all the research that I'm seeing. It comes from India, where it's been used for centuries as medicine and in healthy foods. So we're going to try that. It has a very high temperature tolerance. So, for instance, if you're going to cook and you need to use butter instead of oil, you can use this ghee, and it's supposed to be super, super healthy for you. It's supposed to help with all sorts of health problems. It's very anti-inflammatory, and it's supposed to be one of those other superfoods. And I'd heard of it, but I had never really dove into it before until this week researching for the show, and apparently it's quite a remarkable health benefit for that. So I'm going to try that out. But you can look for pasture-raised organic ghee and give it a try in your cooking. You can drizzle it over vegetables. Use it where you normally would butter or margarine. It's supposed to be a very healthy alternative to plain old butter. However, if you don't want to do that, you should do like I do and use a grass-fed organic butter, a real butter, and use it sparingly, of course, because it's saturated fats. But saturated fat is way better than trans fats, which margarine come from. So whatever you do, don't use margarine. Whatever you decide to use in its place will be better. But the bottom line is, eat some healthy fats. It will help you not crave unhealthy fats or sweets because your body is getting the fat that it needs. So we sort of have this genetic need to eat fats, and that's why we get a lot of these cravings, and we want the hamburgers and those kind of things. But if you're always feeding your body healthy fats, those cravings won't be there. Your body's getting the fat that it needs. Pretty neat. Now, that doesn't mean that you can gorge yourself on fats all day and not gain weight. You can't eat all walnuts and avocados. You can't eat 200 or 300 grams of these healthy fats because your body will store that. But within reason, use a little common sense. I would probably shoot for around 50 grams of fat a day. Right now, I'm doing 40, but just your average person could probably do 50 grams of fat, 50 to 60 grams of fat a day. And, of course, we use MyFitnessPal app to track all of that. I track all of my food. If you really want to know what you're eating, a lot of times people will say, I'm eating healthier. Well, how do you really know? Have you ever really tracked it? So I like to use MyFitnessPal to track every single thing that you eat for a while so that you can see what it is. I've done that for almost a year now, tracking carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. But try to stay around 50 grams.
So that app will tell you how many carbs and how many proteins and what's in it?
It's pretty neat. You can enter all your food in there. It has a barcode scanner. If you're going to eat something, you just scan the barcode, puts it right in there for you, and it'll keep track of it all day. It's pretty neat. You can actually track what you're getting from day to day, and that's the only way to really know. People say I'm eating healthier, but they don't ever really know what.
If I did that, that app would send me alerts, emergency alerts.
It would send you a text.
Go directly to the emergency room.
Go to the emergency
CJ.
room now.
No, but it's true. If you eat I think I'm eating a salad.
Yeah.
But then you put the bacon bits on it, and then you put the blue cheese dressing on it, and all of a sudden it's the same as
It's
a
1,000
hamburger
calories.
or something. Yeah,
it is. It's very true.
Yeah.
So the only way you're ever going to know is to really track exactly what you eat, and then you can make changes from there. And we use that MyFitnessPal app to really do it. Now, the one thing about the MyFitnessPal app is you actually have to open it and use it for it to work. I have so many people that I'm like, yeah, let's put MyFitnessPal on your phone and I'll show you how to use it. And they go, oh, well, look, I have that already. And so you have to open it and use it for it to work.
It's like buying that gym membership.
Yeah.
And never going. CJ.
You have to go to get it to work, right?
No, my left arm is, because I have a membership at Anytime Fitness, and my left arm is getting very, very strong because when I drive by, I wave with my left arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on the left side of the road, and I usually wave.
Yeah. That's like, most people, they'll buy like a treadmill or something for the house, and the only exercise they get's walking around it
Oh, yeah.
to get in the next room.
Oh, and,
Yeah.
and look, it's
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It ends up in a garage sale.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
For about a tenth of what you paid for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Good deal. All right, guys. Thanks for the show.
Craigslist.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Kevin.
You bet. See you guys next week.
Okay. Wellness Wednesday on KTDY.